every now and then you come across a brand which has got a process or a product that actually puts into question if we're actually quite there yet with mountain bike frames. In today's EMBN Show, we visit Northern Italy for a very innovative new product.
Bamboo e-bikes. You haven't seen bamboo? I've never seen one.
This ain't bamboo, Don.
No.
This is definitely not bamboo.
But why not? Why don't we have bamboo e-mountain bikes?
It's interesting, because like if you look at most mountain bike frames, maybe a carbon mountain bike frame, there's possibly, I don't know, maybe over 100 different pieces of pre-preg and cloth in there.
Laid in, yeah. I don't know that, actually. There's a lot of cuts and, I've seen them cutting them out of fabric and laying them in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting process. You put all the bits into, it's pretty much like making a cake. You put all the bits of carbon in the mold and then you chuck it in the oven, you bake it up. And
you're a good baker?
All the glue. My daughter is, yeah. It's quite interesting. We visited this very cool company in Northern Italy a few months ago. We've got this new process. We're not saying it's, the latest and the greatest, but it's definitely innovative and it shows there's other ways to go about making mountain bike frames. This is what we found. So Carbotronics is a full carbon frame. I'm sure many of you are frustrated with some of the frames that many brands make. So let's go and have a look. Now, I'm sure many of you will agree that is very, very reassuring. Let me just add to that. Can I just borrow the hammer there, please, Max? I'm going to go into the process in a minute. This is the kind of abuse that e-bike frames are subjected to. I mean, think about all those trees and rocks that the bottom brackets get bashed with. I mean, that is literally ludicrous. Oh, man. Now, Alessandro, the founder, is not happy with me throwing a frame over my shoulder. He wants me to take a hammer to the front. I feel absolutely terrible about this. But I guess the thing is that, we get rock strikes, we get, you ride trials on an e-mountain bike, so this area gets a real beating. Look, I did used to be a stock fencer, okay? I know how to use a hammer, okay, allegedly. You want me to hit this as hard as I can? Christ. I mean, have a look at that. That is ludicrous. But folks, we're not just talking about durable carbon frames here. This is a far, far bigger story. Now, we're at Carbotronics in Reggio Emilia, which is south of Milan. Now, you might have seen a story we did on EMBN last year from Riva del Garda, where we introduced the world's first carbon e-mtb motor by e-Dynamics. But now the picture is coming together. What we have here is the integration of a motor into a frame. Now, Carbotronics have got the patent on the integration of frame and motor. My first thoughts when I came in here was just how striking this design is. I mean, look at that. It is so neat. But it's not only the uniqueness and the neatness which we've got here, it's actually the process. It's carbon forging, which is used in the automotive industry, which is now being brought to the e-mountain bike. I think this is really, really exciting. I'm going to take you very quickly through the bits and pieces here. Here's the front triangle. I cannot believe I threw a front triangle of a mountain bike over my head. I've never done that in 30 years of journalism. But I think, like I said, it's really exciting news. But so there's the front triangle. And then as you come down here, you can see the integration of the e-bike motor into the frame. So you have it there. So I think what's important to understand is that the weight on the bike is actually quite low. I think it's 4.5 kilos for the frame and the motor. There you go. That's into there. I'm going to come on to what Carbotronics offer a little bit later. And here's the complete bike. I mean, how unique does that look? So in this bike here is a 720 watt-hour battery, 110 newton meter motor, 800 watts peak power. Let's go and have a look at the way they make this carbon forging. Here is the mighty mold. Carbotronics make this here in Reggio Emilia. There's the material over there, CFSMC, carbon fibre sheet moulding compound. Very simple. Now I want to give you like an idea of what's involved in the traditional frame carbon manufacture process. So what you might have big rolls of pre-preg carbon. You'll have possibly a load of drawers with loads of different shaped parts in them. Some mountain bike frames, they'll have hundreds of different parts, shapes to the frame that get put into a mold very similar to this. They chuck it in the oven, it kind of melts together, and they bring it out and they have to shape it and trim it to make it the finished process. Probably takes about 6 hours to get a traditional mountain bike manufactured frame. In this process, it is insanely simple. It's not about the shapes and quantities of the carbon fibre. Actually, it's about the quantity. So, for example, say they needed a frame which is 2.8 kilos. This goes in there. I mean, these are very simplistic terms now, right? So the material goes in there, and then the mold gets put on top of it, and the process is all about heat and pressure. It's a little bit like geology in very simple terms. So this then goes into, this is the press, 250 tons. 250 tons is actually quite light in terms of this process. You get some presses which are 800 tons. So what happens, this is heated, you get the pressure, and then it gets released, and this is the release liquid to separate the frame from the mold. I mean, it really is that simple. Don't get me wrong, right? I mean, that was really simple. It's not simple. It's about what you got here is the knowledge, not the time or the process. So lots of R&D has gone into this manufacturing system. So there's the process and the frame. Let's have a quick look now at the motor. I'm just going to go quickly through the evolution of the motor here. It's important to understand that Carbotronics is the technology provider, whereas eDynamic is the e-mobility system company. So going back to the company was formed back in 2019, the first sort of works were taking place in 2021. This is the aluminium casing version of the eDynamic. And as you can see here, it quickly transforms into a carbon fibre casing. Now, the reason for that is because Carbotronics always saw the integration of the frame and e-bike system as the end goal. So as you can see, it quickly goes from aluminium to carbon. You've got a bit of a hybrid here of carbon and aluminium, and all the way through to the final motor, which we actually saw at Riva del Garda last year. Weight around about 2.8 kilos. But when it comes down to the numbers, looking at 110 newton meters and peak power of around about 800 watts. System parts inside the motor, all the system parts are produced, actually 99% of them are produced in Europe. So things such as the circuit board, as the planetary gear, and I'm just looking through some of the parts here, like really good quality product here. So that's a quick rundown of the motor. So like I said, the carbon motor is the first of its kind, but it's not just about the motor. What Carbotronics is all about is about the system. It's about the integration of the frame and the motor together. So potentially interested customers of Carbotronics can take away this information. It's available as a frame and motor combination, or you could actually get a frame and your own motor bolted into that system. So they do have complete control of the manufacturing process, and like I said, they do have the patent of this, which is massive.
Is this cheaper or easier? Why have they decided to go down this route?
I think they're just interested in pushing the boundaries, and they certainly are. It's definitely a different process to what I've ever seen before. What's quite interesting is the fact, they've got the different materials in the mold, but also the fact that the motor is integrated into the frame. Yeah. I don't know of any other brand that has done that before.
No.
They did have bolted on an aftermarket swinging arm to it, which is primarily the front triangle, which is the sort of innovation here. But I think it proves that there are other ways to build mountain bikes.
Yeah, in similar, well, not related news, I've got to say this is quite interesting. From Focus, they've got this new Jam Squared Next e-mountain bike that is made of this carbon fibre that's been recycled. They're thinking about the eco-conscious version of carbon fibres. We know carbon fibre bikes aren't particularly great for the environment and they are not recyclable. Well, it's nice to see Focus doing something about that, actually. It's super interesting.
What else have we got in the news this week, Don?
Well, actually, jumping into this is the Garmin Edge emtb. It's Garmin's first ever mountain bike specific head unit. There's a couple of features you'll like about this, but it's nice and tough. It's got Gorilla Glass on there. It's got over-molded buttons, so it's nicely weatherproof. 32 gigabytes of internal storage, 14 hours of battery life, loads of the mountain bike features we know Garmin for. So the incident detection, if you fall off or whack your head, it can call your emergency contacts. Has fork sight, so it picks up your, trail forks info. So it'll tell you what the trail's called and all the info about it.
Wow.
But also, interestingly, it records at 5 hertz GPS rate instead of the regular 1 hertz, which means it gives you really accurate positioning. So you can even use this to record your line choice on a track.
That close?
And then try different lines. And really, really interesting, I think, is it's got what they call timing gates. You can set up a start gate and 10 split times, which I'm going to dig into next week. I'm going to set a time down a run, set all my splits and see when and how I can improve my time with this thing. I think it even gives you like your potential best lap. And it's got e-enduro modes as well, so you could choose to record the climb and the descent in mega accuracy, and you just hit the lap button when you go from one to the other.
That is a fantastic bit of kit. Already you've told me things which I'm thinking I could use. I mean,
it's tough. It's tough. So when you flip your bike down the top of a mountain,
I think first of all is the fact that as a tool for increasing your performance, line choice and seeing where you split, seeing where you're gaining and losing on a downhill stage is fantastic. But for me, I'm thinking, because it can work in an uphill scenario as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking tech uphill climbs in terms of your power and your cadence and but also what sectors you're gaining or losing. I think that is a bit of kit I will definitely use a lot. I mean, actually, my watch I use on a daily basis.
Exactly, I do, yeah.
I mean, in terms of, I think sleep is important. I think, rest and heart rate and how much, what's interesting, since I've been running, Since you've been running, I've actually gained fitness. It wasn't an aim to do that, but it's interesting.
I'm shocked. Is that what happens when you run?
But it's had an impact on my e-bike rides. What were previously seen as zone 4, zone 5 rides, and now zone 3 rides. So I've got to push harder in different places.
Well, I recorded
Garmin,
a ride yesterday for a video we're doing, Steve. I did 2 hours. That's the most tired I've been in ages. Also, don't forget, this records in downhill mode as well. So it recognises when you are on the uplift and stops recording in high accuracy and then knows when you start again. And it's got a top tube mount as well. Do you remember those enduro racers that were sticking mounts onto the top tube? Well, it comes with one now as well. So super interesting. Okay, time to look at cool places. Muddy places.
Muddy places.
This is cool. I put it in though. So Luis Henrique Minato, who says, we are Brazilians and live near the northeast Argentinian border and decided to make what nobody's ever done before, cross 106 kilometres through a very preserved area, no electricity at all. First night after 70 kilometres, the rain came in and it turned the road impossible. Check out the video as well. The bike is completely stuck in the mud.
I mean, I love a bit of mud, but that's a serious undertaking there, isn't it?
Cool to see though.
Northeast Argentina.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting to Patagonia with a bit of Welsh. Next up in Oahu, Hawaii, eMtb Ride in Paradise.
Yeah, it looks pretty amazing, doesn't it?
It does look cool, doesn't it, really? This is from Taigan Naibawa. That's it. That's it for this week's Cool Places.
I thought it was quite exotic, wasn't it? We're in Brazil and Argentina and then Hawaii.
And you've been in Shropshire as well?
Yeah, toured to Shropshire. Feedback. We had some helpful feedback, actually. Steve Goodwin watched last week's show and said, has anyone noticed in the US market that the Specialized S-Works Levo Gen 4, so the newest one that you know well, Steve, is now available as a frame only?
Interesting.
And I did notice in the UK as well. £6,499, which is pretty comparative to
It's quite a lot, isn't it? But you do get
Crest line we saw the other week.
But you got the motor, you got the battery.
It's a lovely looking. I don't know. It's like a carbon. Well, it's carbon, but like the effect, the paint effect looked amazing on this thing. To be fair,
we haven't seen so many frame sets in the last few years, have we?
Specialized. I got the Kenevo SL, but they have fairly regularly done their S-Works ones. Yeah, but not many options out there.
No.
Crestline, obviously.
Next up, the Yorkshire Dibner, riding Steve Pete's local and my local Warncliffe Woods for many years now. I finally bump into the man himself, and not only just say hi, but to get an invite to ride the best part of the day with him and his lad and friends. Absolutely epic day and experience, and a true gentleman. Thanks, Petey.
That's a cool little video, Steve, doing a little jump.
Wow, fair dues, Petey.
Have you been for an e-bike ride with Steve? He is one rapid flipping old guy, isn't he, on a bike?
I've been in the same woods as him as the same day. But yeah, I mean, the thing with Steve Pete, he loves all two-wheel sports.
Yeah.
He can turn his hand to...
And he's just bloody good. He's still bloody good.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, he comes from quite an off-road family as well. Time now for the bike vault. This looks like it's in my neck of the woods. Keith Atkinson, love my bike and love photography. A few photos of Bluebell Hill, Kent, my white E160 RS 2024.
That's a good photo,
Super nice, super nice.
Bluebell's gone by now, isn't they?
Stephen C. Whilst waiting for my new amp to arrive, I ordered a 2025 Merida E160.
Next, Steve, what do you do for a living? Let us know in the comments.
Gonna be super nice. What about track rail then? North Yorkshire Mows above Goat Land.
Goathland? Heartbeat country.
That's a nice shot, Rich. That's a nice shot.
Wild up there on these North Yorkshire moors, isn't
it? That's a super nice
I'll
shot.
miss the trees after a while. I want to go and ride some trees, but yeah.
Yeah. But good for your hover drone, though.
True. I've been seeing a few trees up close recently.
Bank holiday at Cumcarn on the Caval Trail. My first pick to be shown on the show. Yes, it is.
I don't know the model. It's Marin.
Jeff's Marin.
What are they? Alpine?
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called. Nice price though.
Yeah, and we've got a couple left. Santa Cruz Heckler MX 2021. Additional battery I can swap out in less than a minute. That's good.
I can't believe that's 2021. It doesn't look like an old bike to me. I mean, it's not old, obviously, but 4 years. That looks like a bang up to date. I know they've changed the linkage time. That looks wicked.
Ryan Parry, super nice. Next up, Glenn Tress, first big ride. Cube 155, 750 watt battery, 160 travel, liquid red carbon frame.
Well, look at it. This looks it looks kind of like a race car to me. Do you know, they're like, maybe it's that 155, the number on it, but like the graphics, it looks kind of like a retro Porsche or something. I like that. I
think that Evan has got a good understanding of light. Can you see how he's got that in the pocket of light there? It's nice.
And I don't know how you've rested it so nicely on your BB like that.
I think Evan definitely is. That's one of the nicest.
Well, he's a photographer as well.
Oh, it says that, does it?
Well, no, but I'm saying, you know.
Okay, well, look at that bike there, right? £3,899. I mean, that's a good bike, isn't it? With
it's a good looking bike.
You know, 750 watt hour battery. That is a super nice Evan.
Into getting social, so I saw this nice post by Marley. Is it Marley?
Marley. So Marley, Palencia, just north of the Douro River in northern Spain.
Yeah. All news to me. Never heard of it.
You've never heard of Douro wine? Come on, Don. I don't believe that for a minute. Great company, really cool company with some very talented employees for sure. Good riders as well.
It's the first close-up shots I've seen of this. So they're M40 mid-drive motor with 105 newton meters, 2.5 kilograms, 850 watts peak power. 2 battery options go with this, 534 watt hour or 800 watt hour. So
did you know that Marley were the producers of the Kenevo SL and the motors?
Yes, that rings a bell now. And when you flip the bonnet on my VW Transporter, there's a logo there for something.
Is there really?
Yeah.
What, Marley?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There you go. And another interesting post from an Instagram account called Velograph. Have you seen this? It's a Reese Muller, so it's a commuter bike, but it's an S pedelec. But look at the way they've integrated the Pinion MGU. It's kind of got a shock cowling. Do you want to call it cowling?
Can't be a good cowling.
Do you know what I mean? It's really neat, isn't it? I know Reese Muller bikes, if I was ever in the market for a commuter, I think they're a great looking thing. And that's like you'd bomb round town, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure. That's it for this week's EMBN show. Coming up on the channel in the next few days are eMtb's Faster.
Well, that's me and this. I'm heading out next week to race an enduro bike. I'm getting back on the mountain bike. It's going to be hard work.
And then Sunday...
Is this me and you up
Me and you up Snowdon, Rwyddfa. I mean, what we tried to do is actually not scatter people while trying to put in the fastest time, but actually tried to clean it.
Well, I thought that was what the idea.
But the interesting bit was the hard bit is that top left-hand line. It's insanely difficult.
It was 90% difficult, I would say. It was harder going up than I thought on a bike. Yeah, it's good though.
But we definitely didn't use the railway line, so that's coming out on Sunday.
Except for coming back down, we did a little bit.
But we got out on time. Watch the video to explain why.
On Sunday. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next week.